Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by NAAFS Flyweight Jessica Eye. Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Jessica, you got a fight coming up August 17th at NAAFS Rock and Rumble 6. How's training been going for the fight?
Oh, it's been great. This has actually been a really fun training camp. We've tried a lot of new things. You know, I've introduced swimming into it. I've actually got a chance to do some Vertimax training. So I feel like my physical strength training has really increased, as well as my ground game for this fight. So I'm really excited for it.
Your team's strong style fight team. I'm curious, do you train with women or do you train with men? What makes up a majority of your training partners?
Definitely dominantly I'm training with men.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few females that do come in there and cross-train with me. There's a couple of girls that kind of come in, every once in a while when they can. But, I train, 95.9% of my, training is with men.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because a majority of the people that we hear of from that gym are men, the Brian Rogers and guys like that. That's why I asked.
Yeah, right on. No, it's a blessing, and, it's a curse, too, sometimes. It's definitely helped. It's made me much stronger. It's helped my will, it's helped me, build up, that mental strength. So when I do come in contact with a female, I'm definitely, a lot stronger, more of the dominant female.
Now you're going to be fighting Angela Magana. How much do you know about her?
To be honest, I really don't know much about Angela. I know that she's definitely well ranked up there, and she has some respect, amongst the women's MMA world. And she's a great ground fighter. She's got, a lot of submissions under her belt, and really that's all that I know about her.
Have you seen any tape, or is it just basically, what you've heard?
Well, a lot of it's what I've heard. But I did actually see a little bit of tape back from 09 of her. But how can you go against something in 2009?
Right.
That's years ago. You evolve. If someone looked at me the way I fought in 09 and tried to come up with a game plan with me, you're going to get a completely different fighter. So I feel like I have to take it with a grain of salt and just know that those are small, maybe steps or tendencies that she could have.
She hasn't fought in over a year when the fight will take place, because I think her last fight was in July or August of 2011. You've been pretty active. This will be your third fight of the year. Do you think that'll be an advantage to you, being the more active fighter?
I think it just depends on the person. I guess if you're looking at it from my point of view, something will look like I'm, I don't have much ring rust, coming into this fight. I've been on a steady, I've had steady fights over the past, 12 months. So, I guess it depends on her. I don't know what kind of person she is. I know with me, that wouldn't bother me. If I had to take a year off or whatever, it would be fighting's fighting. Sometimes, those are just the steps that you have to take. So, I think that just depends on the person.
She's fought a lot at 115 throughout her career. She's also 2 inches shorter than you. Do you think size will be a factor in the fight?
Yes and no. I fought Anita Rodriguez was 5'3" or 5'4". I fought her at 130. I fought my first fight ever. I think it was 5'2". So I'm used to most females being shorter than me. I'm a little bit taller for a 125er, so I kind of think that is a little bit of an advantage for me. Yes, I do definitely think I might be coming in a little bit bigger of a fighter, but then at the same time, she might be just as strong, for this long layoff. You can definitely put on a lot of muscle within a year. You're always growing.
This fight is going to be happening in Cleveland. Is fighting in front of your home crowd, is that something that makes you a little bit nervous? Because some fighters say, that adds a little bit of pressure to them. Or are you one of those fighters where that actually motivates you and pumps you up and, allows you to do, even better?
If you asked me this a year ago, I definitely would have probably had a different answer. I definitely would have said yes, it's more nerve-wracking. But to be honest, my fans are going to follow me no matter where I go, and I realize that because when I fought in New Jersey before, I had a lot of people come up there and support me. So I feel like no matter where I'm fighting at, I just go in there and I fight, and that there's going to be people and fans and hometown. Hometown should be anywhere. I should be able to, wherever the cage is, that should be my home. So I kind of look at it like that. So, no, it doesn't really affect me the same way.
Has this week been the week where, ticket madness is, where you've had a lot of people come up and ask you for tickets, or, is that going to be next week, or has that already happened?
Oh, it's starting. It already happened this week, and in the next week it'll happen. I'm so blessed with, my best friend and, assistant, Ashley. She's awesome, man. She runs, she'll run me to the gym, and then she'll, go and run tons of tickets. I mean, she will drive from Cleveland to Akron to wherever it is to drop off tickets to people personally to make sure they have the stuff that they need, and, if they want T-shirts or wristbands, and people are great, they come and they meet me too, and they come and, come to the gym and get to hang out and watch a little bit of training and pick up tickets, so it definitely steps up, even though I got my tickets 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I ask everybody to get them, then they always wait to the last minute. So, it's just how it goes. I don't think there's any way of getting around it.
When you're fighting on the regional circuit, you also have to play a little bit of promoter as well for the show. You have to do the fighting, but you also have to, get people excited for the fight. Do you like having to do that?
Yeah, I feel like it's a part of the game. I feel like this is a part of the process. If you want to be a fighter, or if you want to be involved in this, it's your choice to make the weight. It's your choice to be a good spokesperson. It's your choice to represent the organization you fight for. So I feel like that, comes with the territory that, also is this fight organization helping, give me a paycheck, but I have to make sure people, know who they are and, are excited about them too.
How good is it that you have a show like the NAAFS that's real close? They run a lot of pro shows, and they're really committed to women's MMA. How good is that for you?
Oh, are you kidding? It's awesome.
Right.
I'm blessed to have that. Most females don't get that. They have to fly out of state and stuff like that. So, believe me, I'm very grateful, man, of everybody at NAAFS, Greg, all of them. The whole staff and crew. They're awesome people, and I love them all to pieces, and I think it's awesome, and I'm always recommending the NAAFS, and for people that, girls that I meet, that are different weight classes and stuff, to try to recommend to get them in here, and I let Greg know to try to help build that, and I think I've had a lot to do with the build of, with the NAAFS and helping them.
Do you have a contract with both the NAAFS and Bellator, or are these fights with NAAFS just, one-offs here and there?
Well, right now with the NAAFS, there's no contract. Basically, they call me when they want me to fight. Bellator, I do have a contract with them. I have a 2-year agreement. I actually already entered into my 2nd year, and they released me to fight with the NAAFS, but they know NAAFS was a great organization. That's where they found me. They know I can stay busy because they're not, quite sure what they're doing on their end too. And, they give me fights and opportunities, and, I'm able to make a little bit more money and able to get more exposure. So I take it for what it's worth, but continue building myself, in the NAAFS so that when I go to Bellator, I can really be the superstar that I want to be and be the person I want to be in front of them.
The reason why I asked was because the undercard that made up Bellator 66 was a majority NAAFS fighters. So you're a contracted fighter with Bellator, and then you just ask them for permission to take this fight, and they give it to you. Okay. And when you fought at Bellator 66, you fought Anita Rodriguez. How did you feel about your performance in the fight?
I'm really, really critical of myself. I'm a very, 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 very critical person on how I fight, and I always try to get, better. I would have liked to see me do a couple more things in there, especially, I definitely wanted to come in, with a finish. I wanted to come and finish with my combinations and not step back as much. But I feel like, yet again, it was a growing process. I was able to get the cage time, under the lights and, with the camera, so I was able to experience that and kind of go, all 3 rounds for 5 minutes and work really hard and, win the judges over and win that way. So I think that by doing that, it helps me grow up a little bit when I do my stuff. So, I was happy with my performance. It definitely gave me a gauge on where I am as a striker and where I am as I need to go as a ground fighter also.
You had to be a little bit easier on yourself for this fight because it was a short notice fight. She was not your original opponent.
No, it was definitely we were supposed to fight Aisling Daly, and
Right.
she pulled out of the fight. And, knowing that Anita was like a 2-week replacement, and it just so happened to at the same time, so, Kat Zagano actually got injured and had to pull out of a fight with her. So they just switched us, and it was, it happened to work out really, really good at the time.
You mentioned Aisling Daly. She's the only fighter ever to defeat you. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that fight. First, I want to start with, what do you think you did right in that fight, and what do you think you did wrong in that fight?
Well, what I did wrong, I didn't follow the game plan. I didn't listen to my coaches. I knew what the game plan was. I knew Aisling's game plan was coming into the fight, and I still didn't. I didn't listen the way that I should have. I think what I did right in the fight was control her on the ground and overwhelm her with strikes, which, made it very, very hard for her to do much with me. But whenever I, fell into her game a lot more, which is, I think, the grappling game, too. And I think there was a lot of stuff going on in my life at the time. Most people didn't know at the time that I had suffered a really, really bad consumption 2 weeks before the fight, and they didn't even want me to fight, and I still did. And I think that had some weight on my shoulders, and I'd never gotten a concussion before, and I'm not making excuses because Aisling, won the fight. She was able to catch me when I wasn't paying attention or when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, and that was protecting my neck. So I think that people don't respect me now because I think that they think I have no ground game because that's the way that I lost. I mean, it bothers me in those ways, but it's just something I have to deal with, and eventually the only way to shut people up from that is to get a finish.
Now, with this fight with Megana, do you feel that if you're able to do well against her, because she's a ground fighter, that's her strength, if you do well against her, maybe, that'll prove people wrong?
I think so. I really do. I mean, not that I have anything to prove to anybody but myself. Because first and foremost, I'm going to prove to myself that I'm a better grappler, I'm a better striker, and I'm a better fighter. But I feel like for the people and for the fans and for the people involved in the sport, they want to see something from me. And I think that's kind of what keeps me on that level of where people are going to give me the true respect of where I want to be, because I've been training for 6 years now, and I want to be recognized not for anything other than for my performance. So that means I have to do something in my next performance to really get that respect.
There's been a long rumor that Bellator is going to do a 125-pound women's tournament. Has Bellator said anything to you or your management about a possible spot in that tournament?
Well, let's just say I wouldn't be there if they didn't have a plan for me. Mm-hmm. So I think everyone should keep healed, but I mean, I'm obviously fighting there. They're obviously, they have Munan Holland, the K-Fed fight at 125, they're having 125 fights, so I definitely think that they're going to see something very, very soon.
Now the fight on August 17th, how do you see the fight ending?
To be honest, I'm not much of a predictor, but I can definitely say that you're going to have a very entertaining fight. If all goes the way that I dream and wanted to, then you're going to see the finish.
Jessica, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Well, obviously the fans, I definitely want to tell them thank you. My friends are, great. Everybody at Strong Style is wonderful. I want to thank a gentleman named John T. Lennon who always, helps continuously support our team. He's kind of a, under sponsor. He doesn't really come out much, but he just wants to be there for all of us. And Intimidation Clothing, Atkinson Candy Company for always giving me a nice snack whenever I'm allowed to cheat on my diet. Defense Soap, Catastrophe Inc., and the one and only, Josh Kurtz over at the Cleveland Browns became a huge supporter of me and a huge sponsor, and he's really doing a great job with, helping me, and Haas Auto Mall. And Fast Graphics, too. I think that's all of them.
Jessica, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck August 17th at NAAFS Rock and Rumble 6 against Angela Megana.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.